On a late night train home from work, you look up to find all the other commuters have vanished. A stranger in tattered clothes enters the car and sits across from you. He grins wolfishly and lights his cigarette. Your stop is coming up soon, and you've got some choices to make before that. In a few minutes, you'll be dropped off on a lawless frontier planet to survive or die. The tech level on the planet ranges from pre-modern to science fiction, and magic suffuses the land and people. Wild animals, raiders, disease, monsters, natural disasters, and worse will make your coming life hell. Your task is to build a thriving settlement capable of fending off all threats until you can complete one of the tasks the man has set before you. Of course, I like to keep it interesting, the man says. You'll get to choose some perks and friends to help level the playing field. Choose wisely. With hard work and luck, you can make this new home quite comfortable. Make your colony safe and prosperous, and people will flock to it. Better yet, if you manage to survive and complete your goal, you get to leave. Fail to do so and, well, you don't want to fail. It's time to choose your path. Choose your biome. The man beckons to the train window, and you see the potential landscapes of your future home unfold before you. Choose where you'll be building your colony. If you're feeling bold and want to make it harder on yourself, I'll throw in a little something extra for you. Choose a biome to make your home. More challenging locations will grant you extra choices down the line. Grasslands. Vast open plains of grass. They are maintained by grazing animals and frequent fires. Trees can be present, but they are uncommon. Rainfall levels are low, but the climate is temperate and pleasant, with growing seasons lasting most of the year. The soil is rich and fertile, and animals are common. Temperate forest. Forests of deciduous trees interspersed with fertile clearings. Many species of animals move around the trees and on the plains. Temperatures are mild and growing seasons last most of the year. You will have very few problems surviving in such a place, at least when compared to your other options. Ocean coast. A stretch of land by the sea. The weather is warm and balmy for most of the year, though the soil is not ideal for growing crops. The bounty of the sea more than makes up for this shortcoming, however. Harsh ocean storms are a concern, and housing should be built to last, or far enough inland that it is not at risk of destruction. Boreal forest. Forests of coniferous trees. Despite the harsh winters, boreal forests sustain a diverse population of small and large animals and have warm summers. Growing seasons are short and winters are long. Cold and hunger can become major problems if you don't prepare carefully. Gain 1 extra pick. Arid plains. A dry region, but not dry enough to become a true desert. Open plains with grasses and bushes give way to scattered groves of trees. Plants are hardy and there is a moderate density of animals, but arable soil is hard to find. Growing season lasts most of the year, if you can find the soil for it. Gain 1 extra pick. Tropical rainforest. A thick, moist jungle, buzzing with animal life and infested with disease. Despite its visual beauty, there is a very dangerous biome. Choking undergrowth, aggressive animals, and constant sickness can make this a green hell. Temperatures are hot and growing seasons are most of the year. Gain 1 extra pick. Urban decay. The crumbling remains of a massive urban expanse. The ground is concrete and there is no vegetation or soil in sight. Animals avoid this artificial blight, but there are some people living in the ruins. Most valuables have been looted, but the buildings are a source of scrap material. The weather is temperate, with high variance between seasons. Gain 1 extra pick. Tundra. These mostly frozen plains bear almost no trees and little vegetation. There are a few small animals interspersed with large herds of migratory grazers and their predators. Animal migrations may occur once or twice per year. Growing periods are generally very short or non-existent. Gain 1 extra pick. Dark forest. A temperate forest twisted into something sinister. The soil is tainted and grows unwholesome plants and trees, and the water is brackish and dark. Animals here tend to be warped predators that have no fear of people. The water should be fine if purified, but you should avoid planting crops in the soil. Gain 2 extra picks. Tropical swamp. A plant-choked, steamy swamp seething with parasites and pathogens. Much of the land is too marshy to build on. Difficult movement, aggressive animals, and rampant disease make living here a nightmare. Temperatures are hot, growing seasons last most of the year, and there is much arable soil. Gain 2 extra picks. Desert. An extremely dry area which supports little life. There is very little arable land, and animal life is sparse. This desert is quite hot, growing seasons last most of the year. Soft sand often prevents building. This is one of the most hostile biomes, so tread carefully. Ice sheet. A permanent layer of ice covering an extensive tract of land located in a polar region. There is no soil for plants to grow in. The only animals here are migrating to somewhere else, or badly lost. Hellishly cold. This place is not for the faint of heart. Gain 2 extra picks. Choose your terrain. You make your choice of biome, trying to imagine your future life there. The stranger scratches his chin and gazes at the plot of land you picked. Since you'll be there for a while, I may as well give you some say in how the place looks. How about this? Let me know what kind of features you like to add or change, within reason, and I'll make it so. Choose up to 2 terrain modifiers to add to your biome. Not all will be compatible with the one you choose. You may use your extra picks to add more. Road more travelled. Your settlement is situated near a well-made road from an ancient civilization. It is host to many travellers, and you will see all types passing through. You will find no lack of traders and recruits, and your colony can quickly become an important trade hub. That said, raiders can easily locate and prey on you. Incompatible with rugged mountains, island settlement, haunted biome, radiation zone, and dark forest. Heavy rain. When it rains, it pours, and it's almost always pouring. Your land experiences an unusual level of rainfall year-round, and it's coming down more often than not. If you live in a freezing environment, this comes in the form of snow or sleet. Incompatible with desert and arid plains. Glimmering Lake. Situated near your colony is a beautiful lake that glimmers like the stars under the night sky. The water is pure and good to drink and fish from, though sometimes you see large, strange shapes moving beneath the surface. Time will tell what lies beneath. The lake will be frozen for most of the year if your biome is. Incompatible with desert, arid plains, urban decay. Roaring River. A powerful river winds its way through your land. Fish, trade, and fresh water are all in abundance. In spring the river overflows from the snowmelt and floods the nearby lands. The river is a great spot to send and receive trade, but neighbours will also covet your land. Be prepared to defend it. If you're on the ocean coast or island settlement, the river empties out into the ocean. Incompatible with desert, tundra, ice sheet. Rolling Hills. Your colony is situated in a hilly area. You can build your compound into the hills or mine them for resources. Watch out for insectoid infestations when digging, however. In addition, the rugged terrain allows for natural defenses if you build around them, but you'll have a harder time seeing raiders coming. Incompatible with arid plains, grasslands, and rugged mountains. Rugged Mountains. Your colony is situated on wild mountains, some of the most extreme terrain around. You will be incredibly isolated from most raiders and traders, so it is important to have a self-sufficient colony. Cold is also a concern, but the privacy is nice. Incompatible with rolling hills, road more travelled, urban decay, arid plains, and grasslands. Migratory hotspot. Your home is a natural hotspot for all sorts of animals to pass through in their migratory patterns. Wild game will be much easier to come by, but fierce predators will be more of a threat as well. Nomadic hunters will pass through your land to hunt. If you try to stop them, it may lead to conflict. Incompatible with haunted biome and urban decay. Island settlement. Your settlement is on an island, surrounded by the sea on all sides. The only way to come and go is by boat, unless your biome is cold enough for the sea to freeze in the winters. Isolation and the sea are both friend and enemy. Neighbouring factions will be on the nearest continent, but still some distance away. Build strong to protect your compound from ocean storms. Incompatible with road more travelled, Desert. Hidden caves. There is a network of hidden, virgin caves on your land. They are host to wondrous and seemingly impossible natural features, like vast underground forests and lakes. You can potentially move into them, but there is a whole new ecosystem of predators and disease to contend with. Abandoned mines. Shortly after moving in, you will find miles of abandoned mines underneath your base. There are plenty of valuable minerals and gems to still be found, but when down there, you can hear unnatural sounds and see strange shadows. These mines may have been abandoned for a reason. Tribal burial grounds. Your land is home to burial grounds of spiritual significance for a group of tribals. They will often come by to leave valuable offerings and pay their respects. If you destroy, loot, or otherwise disturb the burial grounds, the tribe will turn hostile, but if you respect and preserve them, the tribals will come to see you as an ally. Incompatible with. Urban decay. Haunted biome. Ancient ruins. You will find the remains of a great, powerful civilization on your land. It is unclear what happened to them, but you could likely find out with enough study. Valuable artifacts and magic items are there for the taking, but they are often guarded by traps or constructs. Researchers, treasure hunters, and those looking for power will flock here in search of them. They aren't always friendly. Incompatible with. Urban decay. Crashed hive. An orbiting hive of autonomous, hostile mechanoids went haywire and crashed onto the rim. Their gargantuan hive now lies defunct and in ruins. It makes a tempting target to raid for scrap, materials, and advanced technology, but you will certainly encounter surviving mechanoids. Think carefully before delving too deep. You may awaken something you'd rather leave well enough alone. Active volcano. An active volcano dominates the landscape. It is prone to violent and destructive eruptions every few years, devastating the surrounding landscape. Plan your base building accordingly. Its geothermal energy can be used for power, and the soil in the area is enriched and excellent for farming. Radiation zone. This place is not a place of honor. At some point, a local nuclear reactor suffered a critical meltdown and left the land in a radiated wasteland. Current radiation levels aren't lethal, but still far beyond a healthy level, and people mostly avoid coming here. The facility itself is still intact, and in surprisingly good condition. Gain 1 extra pick. Incompatible with road more traveled. Haunted biome. This land is cursed. Everything, I mean everything, comes back to life here. Plants, animals, severed limbs, they aren't friendly, and the only way to destroy them is burning or crushing the biomass. Are you sure you want to live here? Really? Well, I'll assume it's part of your master plan. Gain 1 extra pick. Incompatible with road more traveled, migratory hotspot, tribal burial grounds. Choose your base. After telling the stranger your terrain preferences, he presents you with another series of options. Now that we have the where, let's decide on the what. What kind of base do you want to start out with? I can give you a comfortable setup, or you can challenge yourself with some perks later down the line. What kind of base? You've never given this kind of thing much thought before. Let's see what he has to show you. Choose a starting base. You'll be able to upgrade it down the line. Just a shack. An abandoned ramshackle hut. No comfort, no supplies, no amenities, and barely any protection. Not for the faint of heart. That said, I'll throw in some extra perks for taking this one. Gain 2 extra picks. Incompatible with all base upgrades. Quaint farmhouse. A quaint American-style farmhouse. Uninhabited, but in a state that feels as though the previous inhabitants just left. It is comfortable and furnished with colonial-era amenities. The crops are even ready to harvest. Has little protection from raiders and is vulnerable to fire, but otherwise a comfortable start. Gain 1 extra pick. Incompatible with desert, ice sheet, urban decay. Bustling ranch. A frontier-style ranch, comfortably appointed with a rustic charm. It has fenced-in land holding sheep, cows, and chickens, with land for them to graze. Includes the tools and space to harvest, butcher, and process your livestock. Like the farmhouse, it has little in the way of defenses, and is vulnerable to arson. Gain 1 extra pick. Incompatible with desert, ice sheet, urban decay. Forgotten village. An abandoned 19th century European village. There are lots of available buildings and supplies to scavenge. The whole place is in a state of moderate disrepair, but will be much simpler to restore than the prison. Comfortable, and has lots of space and housing to grow a thriving, powerful community. Gain 1 extra pick. Motte and Bailey. A medieval style of fortification. You live in the nice Bailey and retreat to the well-fortified motte when challenged. Has some buildings and extra supplies lying around, on top of the fortified motte. The defenses are wood, so modern weapons are still threatening, unless you improve them. Ruined church. A holy place that has seen better days. Long abandoned, this place once held significant spiritual importance to those that live nearby. The church is spacious but badly overgrown and lacking most amenities, and most valuables have long been looted. If you manage to restore its structure and beauty, common folk will flock to it and see you as a holy figure, and you will gain renown with one of the 3 main religions of the Rim. Lonesome Tower. A solitary medieval outpost, this tower is designed to host troops and give them a secure base to operate from. It is rather cramped quarters, but is well stocked with provisions and medieval weaponry, and gives an excellent view of the surrounding land. Taking it through force is extremely difficult, and the tower will provide an excellent base to build out from. Abandoned prison. An abandoned 20th century prison. There is lots of room and the building is obviously quite secure. That said, much of the building is in a state of disrepair, and the place is haunted with the spirits of late criminals. If you put the work in, this is an excellent base. Medieval castle. A medieval castle, just like the ones the old kings and lords of Europe lived in. Well fortified, with lots of food and abundant living space. Moderately comfortable, but the amenities are dated and you'll want to improve them. The castle has a moat and drawbridge, making it quite secure. The walls are solid stone and impervious to small arms, but mortars and cannons can be dangerous. Star Fort. Are you ready for war? This base is an expansive military fortress, designed to deflect cannon shots and other powerful ordnance. The walls are thick and the base is designed to weather a siege from any direction. The base is stocked with 17th century cannons, pistols, muskets and swords, with enough munitions to last a long time. The base has enough housing to host a sizable force. Costs 1 extra pick. Derelict Airfield. Once the location for an air force to garrison and launch planes, this place has long been abandoned. Defunct bombers and planes dot the runways, and with the right supplies and know-how, you may be able to get them running again. There is some damaged military hardware to be salvaged in the buildings, but food, fuel and other supplies are long gone. A powerful base if you have the resources to restore it. Costs 1 extra pick. Mage's Spire. A towering spire once owned by a powerful dark wizard. Enchantments are woven into the stone, making the walls impossible to destroy. The test subjects and notes of past experiments can be found here, but they are written in an unknown language that you must translate. There are many arcane secrets to uncover, making it the ideal secluded base for a budding magician. Costs 1 extra pick. Secure Compound. A secure 21st century prepper compound. Fortified building stocked with food, weapons and survival gear. Has a set of generators and 3 rough terrain vehicles. Electrified fences, perimeter alarms and surveillance cams ensure you'll have plenty of security. No raiders will envy your setup and try to take it from you. Costs 1 extra pick. Survival Bunker. A stocked bunker with everything needed to survive in relative comfort for years. Fully hidden underground, so your enemies will have a tough time finding you. You can potentially expand the bunker if you have the tools and know-how. Comes with weapons, survival gear, heating, and a water filter. Costs 1 extra pick. Cave Outpost. A no-frills 21st century outpost built into a cave system. The tunnels do not go very far, but have room for you to expand into. The outpost has guns, food and digging equipment, but you'll need to secure more for a long-term stay. With only one surface entrance, the outpost is easily defended and well hidden. Can connect to the hidden caves or abandoned mines, if you expand the tunnels. Costs 1 extra pick. Luxury Skyscraper. A swanky 20th century luxury residential tower. This place is in a near-perfect condition, unlike the surrounding city. Commands a peerless view over the crumbling city, letting you see what's coming. The tower's kitchens are stocked, the rooms are appointed, and the backup generators have enough diesel to keep power going for a week or so. Maintaining and powering the place will be tough, and curious travelers and looters will be drawn to you like moths. Costs 1 extra pick. Exclusive to Urban Decay. Improve your base. After deciding what base you want to live in, another series of choices flash before your eyes. Upgrades, additional rooms, useful things. The stranger has much to offer. Better choose wisely. Choose up to 5 base upgrades. You may use your extra picks to select more. Stocked larder. Your base has a stocked cellar larder with several months' worth of dried goods, canned goods, and salted meat. You'll have enough food to keep your initial group going for a while, and the cellar is cool and dry, perfect for storing food without spoiling it. Mortar launchers. Your base is equipped with half a dozen mortars and several crates of shells. Be careful about storage. You can set these up in a safe location to rain hell on enemies camped outside your walls, but you should expect lots of collateral damage to the land as you find your target. Watermill. If you have a source of moving water, you can install this watermill to generate power from its floor. The mill is pre-modern and will require some technical know-how to hook into your power grid, but once it's going, you can just collect the energy. Armory and range. Your base has a room stocked with 21st century weaponry and ammunition, with an attached firing range for practice. This can be used to train up colonists' shooting skills in a safe environment, or if you simply need the weapons of modern warfare. Tamed Muffalo Pen. You receive 2 adult Muffalo, large docile herbivores with thick white fur, in a pen along with saddles and bags. They are very strong and can carry large amounts of equipment and supplies for trade or travel. Their fur is warm and can be sheared for trade or making clothes, and they carry a lot of meat if you face starvation. The 2 Muffalo you receive are tamed, and can be bred with each other. Hydroponics Bay. A good solution to poor farming conditions outside. The Hydroponics Bay has state-of-the-art equipment to grow plants and crops in their optimal conditions, along with a treasure trove of seeds and plant clippings to grow your desired crop. The bay will not be able to meet the food consumption of your colony as it grows larger in size, so you will eventually need to expand it, or supplement your food sources elsewhere. Central Heating System. Your base is rigged with a central heating system, capable of keeping you warm and comfortable in the cold months. This will require power or fuel, so you must be capable of providing this to keep the heat on, of course. Air conditioning. Your base is rigged with air conditioning units to keep cool in hotter climates. This may simply be a small convenience or save lives from deadly heatstroke, depending on where you live. You must supply the power for this to operate. Reinforced walls. Simple, but effective. The walls of your base are reinforced and become much harder to destroy. Wooden walls become stone, while stone, concrete and metal walls gain several inches of thickness and inner reinforcement. Enemies will have a much tougher time laying siege, even with heavy ordnance. Medical Bay. A spacer-level med bay, replete with medicine and tools and ready to serve as a hospital for your compound. It is made with sterile materials and will be invaluable in keeping colonists alive or slowing the spread of disease. The medical bay is rather small, and while it will effectively serve your initial group, it won't be able to meet the needs of a large colony by itself. Water Purification System. Your base has an underground system capable of purifying and desalinating large quantities of water to make it fit for human consumption. The system is rather old and will require an adept technician to keep it running, or overhaul the parts that need replacement. Watchtower. A tall fire watchtower that can be placed anywhere you like on your land. It offers a bird's eye view of the land around you, letting a scout see anyone coming long before they arrive. The tower is made of wood and comes stocked with binoculars and some basic supplies. Wine cellar. A bit of a luxury. Your base has a cellar stocked floor to ceiling with casks and bottles of rare wine. Some of it is from Earth, with the rest being made on the rim or elsewhere in the galaxy. The wine is all aged and high quality, good for keeping morale up or for trading to thirsty denizens of the Rim. Solar panels. Your base is outfitted with an array of solar panels to soak up the sun's rays. Great in places with lots of powerful sunlight for most of the year, but you'll need a way to store the power once the sun goes out, to keep the lights on. Fire suppression system. You'll be glad you got it when the time comes. Your base is wired with an advanced fire suppression system, using either a sprinkler system or foam poppers that suffocate fire. The system used is up to you, and should depend on preference and available materials for upkeep. Auto turret array. 6 automatic machine gun turrets are installed on your base. They require ammunition, power, and regular upkeep to operate, but are capable of autonomously targeting anything in sight when switched on. They can be programmed to not fire at wild animals, but their target recognition systems are spotty at best, and it is best to leave them off when not in battle. Docks and boats. Your base has a dock and 2 seaworthy boats at a nearby body of water of your choice. One boat is stocked with fishing lines and gear, and the other is a larger, sturdier trade barge. The dock is wooden and can be expanded on. Treasure room. Your base has a magnificently appointed treasure room with valuable paintings, sculptures, furniture, clothes, decorations, gold and jewelry. You can raid the room for trade or simply use it to show off your status and wealth. Perhaps you simply wish to deck out yourself for a colonist in the finest attire on the Rim. Mushroom patch. Near your base is a plot of land with mushrooms that grow taller than a human and glow as the sun sets. They can be processed into an expensive psychoactive drug, or studied for their other alchemical properties. Their stalks can be used as a replacement for wood. They grow in most types of soil, but prefer less light than normal plants. Power room. A room that can connect your power grid to store excess energy. Power is delivered to 6 battery cells that can each hold the equivalent of a wind turbine's daily output. No more power outages when the sun goes out or the wind stops blowing. The individual batteries can be unhooked from the power grid and brought on the go to carry a charge wherever you need it. Spirit altar. Your base has a room with an obsidian altar. While your base houses the altar, it becomes a nexus of supernatural phenomena. Spirits are instinctively attracted to it. They will manifest in various ways. Most are not hostile, but some inevitably will be. With the right knowledge and skills, you can cultivate the types of spirits that flock to you over time. The altar can be moved, but it is fragile and very heavy. Arcane Workshop. A workshop to tinker and imbue items with magic power. It comes with tomes and scrolls depicting crafting techniques, along with crafting tools and a chest full of rare magical stones. Some stones can serve as repositories for power, while others have unknown properties. The stones can be studied, fashioned into gear, or sold at a high price to collectors or mages. Wind turbines. The land outside your base is seeded with wind turbines that convert wind into electricity. In the right location and in the right conditions, these will generate abundant power for your compound, but they are obviously of less use in unfavorable weather, and enemies may target them. Personal study. A room for you to gather your thoughts or relax. Appointed with lavish decorations, the room comes furnished with books, stationery, a desk and chair, a fireplace and other amenities you will find useful. A small magic chest fills with your favourite earth snack once a week. You'll also find a wardrobe filled with clothes perfectly fitted to you, and a wax sealed stamp emblazoned with an insignia of your choice. Nothing said in this room can be overheard outside its walls. Semi-automated farm. On a viable plot of land near your base is a farm growing edible crops of your choice, ready to harvest. The quality will depend on the soil quality of your land. If it can't support crops, then nothing will grow. The farm comes with 3 repurposed wall machines that automatically fertilize and water the plants. The machines are aging, and will eventually need repairs to function. Aviary Spire. On the top floor of your base is a spire with a flock of trained birds, as well as paper and ink. The birds are intelligent and will seek out an individual or group that you write a letter addressed to, as long as you know their general location. The birds will wait around for your recipient to write a return letter, then bring it back to you. Contemporary Workshop. A 21st century workshop with modern tools and space to tinker. The tools and building are high quality and built to last. You'll find usable nails, tape, scrap, electronics, gasoline, and whatever else you might need lying around. Comes as its own building that can be attached to your base, or put where you like on your land. King's Kitchen. You will need a place to prepare your food, and this is a kitchen fit for a king. Comes with all the pots, pans, and tools you will need to prepare meals for a whole castle. Does not come with food, but you'll have lots of spices and condiments to cook with. The King's Kitchen can exist in its own room or come attached to the Quiet Tavern, at your preference. Quiet Tavern. A quiet, cosy tavern building with comfortable seats and long tables. It has a bar with glasses, plates and utensils, with a few days' worth of food and booze in supply. You'll need to keep it stocked yourself, but it makes for a great place to unwind and catch up with your companions. You might want to assign a future colonist to tend the bar. Medieval Smithy. A building with a quality forge and anvil, along with all the tools and materials needed to turn steel into weapons of war. The smithy comes with enough iron, coal and steel to get started, but this will only last you so long. This can be placed where you like on your land, or come as a room attached to your base. Choose your powers. The stranger puffs on his cigarette and with a wave of his hand reshapes your new home to your specifications. He surveys it with approval, and you can't help but share his sentiment. Now we get to the fun part. I'm tired of watching ordinary people, so I'm going to give you the chance to be something special. The options flash before you. A series of superhuman powers, each of which would make you exceptional back on Earth. Most of the abilities will be unique to you, but some others on the rim may also be born with magical aptitude. Choose up to 5 powers. You're going to need them. You may use your extra picks to select more. Rapid Regeneration. Injuries no longer phase you. You will regenerate any damage to your body that does not outright kill you. Your body heals any physical trauma within minutes to an hour. Lost limbs grow back as well, though the process can take up to a month. You also develop immunity to disease many times faster than a normal human. Regenerating uses lots of energy, and you will have a ravenous hunger after heavy use of this power. Hyper-focus. You can enter focused trance states where you are able to perform beyond your mental and physical limits for an hour each day. During this time, your senses, strength, and reflexes are heightened, your focus is unbreakable, and your mind works faster than you are normally capable of. Peak performance for a limited time. Master of Ice. You gain a budding aptitude in the magic of cold and ice. You start out quite weak, but given enough time and training, you can learn to manipulate and control all aspects of the element. You gain a resistance to the cold that will increase along with your powers. Master of Fire. You gain a budding aptitude in the magic of fire and heat. You start out quite weak, but given enough time and training, you can learn to manipulate and control all aspects of the element. You gain a resistance to the fire that will increase along with your powers. Master of Lightning. You gain a budding aptitude in the magic of lightning. You start out quite weak, but given enough time and training, you can manipulate and control all aspects of the element. You gain a resistance to electric shocks that will increase along with your powers until you can stand in a thunderstorm holding a lightning rod without danger. Master of Wind. You gain a budding aptitude in the magic of wind and air. You start out quite weak, but given enough time and training, you can learn to manipulate and control all aspects of the element. You gain an increased resistance to your element. Heavy winds will gently pass around you, and you can move through the air at high speeds without physical discomfort. Scrying Ritual. You can perform a ritual that allows you to spy on other parts of the world. The ritual takes an hour to perform, but once the spell is active, you can see whatever is happening in the moment, anywhere in the world. The ritual is limited in use, but with enough research, you will learn how to use it to hear sounds, as well as expand its reach to elsewhere in the universe. Future Vision. You gain limited precognition, and will see snippets of upcoming events that are either dangerous or relevant to you and your plans. You can also divine the future in a ritual that you learn, though the future may change as a result of the knowledge you gain and your subsequent actions. Angel Wings. You sprout a pair of magnificent white feathered wings. They are powerful enough to lift you off the ground briefly, and will grow in strength and endurance as you use them, until you can soar for hours without tiring. The wings can be part of your body, or only appear when you wish to use them. You will gain precise control over your wings over time, letting you harden or sharpen the feathers to use for defense or offense. Shape change. You can manipulate your body's shape like putty at will. You can elongate, enlarge, grow limbs, change shape, move, or reshape muscles and bones, etc. You can increase or decrease your body's mass by 50% of your original size. Your only limit is total body mass, but your shape-changed features will appear clumsy and often monstrous. The effect of changing your shape is off-putting to others, and will inspire fear and revulsion. Dark Gift. A darker power than most. You become an immortal vampire, immune to age and disease. The sun will burn your skin and weaken you, but you can only be killed through dismemberment, followed by burning of your body parts. You gain superhuman senses and night vision, and live off the blood of intelligent beings. Your strength, speed, and agility are vastly improved, and you will no longer tire. Your other powers also increase in potency. Normal people will fear and hate you, but you can convert most companions as well as those interested in your dark gift. Jack of all trades. You become naturally proficient in every skill you can possibly partake in. Everything becomes familiar and simple to you, from communicating to physics to shooting. This comes at the drawback of not being able to advance your skills in anything, however. You'll be a true jack of all trades, and master of none. Healing hands. You are the ultimate healer. By laying both hands on an individual, you will heal them of any sickness or injury, mental or physical. You can regrow lost limbs, but it will take many hours of healing. Long healing sessions tire you, but your stamina increases the more you use this ability. Your healing does not work on yourself. Warp. You can jump to any point within sight. This effect is instant and has no cooldown, but using this power too fast and often will lead to fatigue and sickness. If you hold on to someone, you can take them along, but the energy required increases for each person you warp with you. Animal kinship. You are the ultimate animal whisperer. Animals will not attack you and instead instinctively trust and like you. You can communicate with any animal, and more intelligent ones will do your bidding. Wild creatures will flock to you, bring you food, and instinctively protect you. Technomancy. You have an unusual affinity for machines. You can get them to do what you want and perform far better than they typically should. You gain an intimate understanding of mechanics, electronics, and programming, and can tinker effectively with most types of machines. Summoning magic. You gain a budding aptitude in summoning magic. You can summon spirits both good and evil to do your bidding, give you information, and enhance your physical abilities. You are limited to what spirits you can persuade or mentally dominate. Your skills start out quite weak, but you will gain strength over time. You also gain the ability to question the dead, but you must have a part of the body available. Voice of power. Your voice is powerful and can warp the minds of humans. You can intonate your speech or songs a certain way to make your words more impactful, and prime those who hear them to be open to do as you say. As you develop this skill, your control over those who hear your voice increases. Extended use of this power is physically taxing. The Weapon Master. You become a Grand Master at fighting with any melee weapon known to man. Whatever the weapon, you cannot be bested in skill. This does not apply to projectile weapons like bows and guns. Your physical abilities do not increase, however, and you must train to keep your body in shape to fight. Deadeye. Your senses heighten to superhuman levels and do not degrade with age. You will see, hear, and smell things long before anyone else. Furthermore, you become an expert in all firearms and ranged weaponry, and gain exceptionally quick reflexes and accuracy in a firefight. Telekinesis. You can move things with your mind. At first this ability is weak, but by exercising it like a muscle, you will improve it in range, strength, and length of time you can call upon it. Moving objects requires a baseline level of mental concentration that can be broken. You do not require line of sight to use telekinesis. Telepathy. Something awakens in your mind. You can listen to the thoughts of other people, as well as communicate with them. As you develop your mental powers, you'll be able to dig through people's memories, plant or erase ideas, even attack or control their mind. People with strong willpowers are tougher to directly overpower. Beyond heat and cold. You become impervious to heat and cold. The most extreme ends of either temperature will not harm you. In fact, you can barely register swings in temperature anymore. You will never again fear freezing or burning to death. Hot showers lose their appeal, unfortunately. Aqua affinity. You become completely at home in the water. You can breathe and survive in water indefinitely, can see underwater as clear as broad daylight, and have a swimming speed of up to 45 miles per hour. You can also communicate with any sea creature, and get any unintelligent ones to do your bidding. Intelligent sea creatures will not automatically follow your commands, but will nevertheless be far more open to befriending and following you. Expanded mind. Your intelligence far outstrips the smartest human to ever live. Your neuroplasticity will never dull with age, and you pick up new subjects with ease. Your memory becomes infallible, and your intellectual capabilities will be superhumanly sharp as long as you live. You are a human supercomputer. Physical perfection. Your raw physical and athletic abilities become the pinnacle of human perfection. You will be the strongest person alive, and become nearly impervious to damage. You also age, however, and require more food than the average person. Your muscles do not atrophy from disuse. Life everlasting. You cease to age past your early 20s. From this point on, you will live forever, unless killed by disease or violence. Your body does not age either, and you will pair eternal youth with eternal life. If you are older, you will de-age each year, until you reach your early 20s. Icon of beauty. Your features change to become your ideal of beauty. You gain the ability to change your looks over the course of a few days at will. In addition, you will become exceptionally charismatic and persuasive. People will naturally look to you for leadership and friendship, and you will generally be well liked. Stasis. You can force your body into a deep stasis over the course of an hour. During this time, all physical sensations are dulled and your mind goes to sleep. You retain a very basic awareness of your outside environment, but you do not age or require nutrition, and your body cannot be harmed while you are out. You can sleep for up to 10 years over each stasis. Waking up leaves you with an awaking sickness for 24 hours afterwards, during which you cannot use stasis again. Classic mode. There's someone I know that probably wouldn't approve of this. Tell you what, if you want a more classic experience, I'll let you trade your powers for more choices elsewhere. Don't get it twisted though. I like the powers, and there's nothing wrong with taking them. You'll want all the power you can get soon enough. Do not choose any other powers. Gain 4 extra picks. Choose your gear. You make your choices and imagine how it will feel when the stranger makes it so. Part of you has a hard time believing this is even real. He doesn't offer you much time for reflection, however, before continuing. You'll need some gear to survive too. No, I'm not talking about your run-of-the-mill survival stuff. Whatever your base doesn't come with, you'll have to get a hold of yourself. Instead, I have some more esoteric items on offer. A new series of choices presents itself. Powerful magic and mundane artifacts to take on your journey. Some will improve your combat abilities, some help with surviving, and others exist to make your new life more bearable. These can all be lost, stolen, or destroyed. Choose up to 5 artifacts. You may use your extra picks to select more. Vanometric power cells. 2 hyper-advanced power cells. They generate a seemingly endless and sourceless stream of energy that is a black box to you, scientifically. When connected to any machine, vehicle, or device, they will power it indefinitely. However, each cell can be connected to only one device at a time. You cannot reverse engineer this tech, and it will forever be a mystery to you. Cicada Pendant. A sterling silver cicada charm. While this is in your possession, insects and arachnids will not bother you, your allies, your base, or your crops. In addition, you'll notice them helping you in subtle ways, such as bees swarming raiders or paths of ants that lead you to safety when you are lost. Knight Armor. A set of mastercrafted noble power armor and a matching blade. With this, your strength and reflexes are greatly increased, and you are protected from almost all damage. An advanced HUD gives you exceptional sight and situational awareness. The sword will cleave through most defenses. The armor can degrade, but it comes with an automated system that will guide you in its upkeep. Weather Box. A clear glass box that when tapped displays a series of weather patterns to select. Choosing one will cause that weather to occur in your biome for 12 straight hours. The box needs roughly a week to recharge. Using it too often will lead to bizarre and unpredictable weather. Warlock's Wardrobe. A magical wardrobe that, when opened, contains exactly the article of clothing you need or want. If you are cold, it will produce warm gear. If you need to look good, it will produce well-fitted and attractive clothes. You don't have to return the clothes before taking more. Nostalgic Console. A games console that takes the form of one from your childhood, accompanied with controllers, a keyboard and mouse, and a television. It is capable of playing any game you played or owned in your past life in high fidelity. It will not degrade and cannot be lost or stolen. Any games you play on here you will experience as though it were your first time playing. Armed Benefactors. You are given a radio that contacts a group of well-armed individuals that seem interested in your being. Once every 2 weeks you can call on them to drop off supplies, give you a ride, or show up for fire support. They fly in well-armed airships and refuse to divulge anything about themselves to you. If you ask to join them, they assume you are joking and laugh it off. Droplet Condenser. This esoteric machine can condense moisture in the air into fuel of your choice, from gasoline to jet fuel to more niche requirements. It is capable of generating 12 gallons of gasoline a day, or the equivalent in power output. You can potentially reverse engineer this, but it is far beyond any Earth technology you know. Healing Tanks. 3 human-sized tanks connected to esoteric machinery. These tanks are capable of sustaining a human indefinitely when placed inside, as well as healing his wounds over a time period depending on the injury. Can be used as a jail cell or to bring you or an ally back from the brink. Takes a few minutes to activate, however. Grandmaster's Tome. The annotated magical notes of a late archmage. In addition to telling his life story, the notes offer you a beginner-friendly and in-depth guide to magic. This will help you quickly master your chosen magical abilities if you chose fire, ice, lightning, wind, or summoning magic as a power. Utility Drone. A compact drone capable of moving and maneuvering at high speeds. It is armed with cameras, a stealth system, small arms weapons, a rangefinder, and a shield generator. You'll be able to control it and receive information through a tablet it is connected to. The drone can operate for about a day without needing to recharge, but power drains twice as fast with the stealth field on. It can interface with the knight armor, beaming all data to your HUD and letting you control it from within your suit. Its frame has room for more upgrades, should you care to add additional functionality. Comforting Plushie. This stuffed monster plushie is adorable, and gives you a sense of comfort and well-being whenever you squeeze him. Good for stealing yourself a battle, or getting through tough times. He will never degrade, and will always come back to you good as new if destroyed, lost or stolen. Lucky Canteen. This canteen has a very simple but useful power. It is filled with water whenever you go to take a sip. It will appear to be empty if you try to pour it out without sipping, but otherwise it is an infinite source of drinkable water. It reappears on your belt a few hours later if it is lost, stolen or destroyed. The water is pure and high quality. Charge Rifle. A hyper-advanced weapon that charges each shot with unstable energy as it leaves the barrel. Its accuracy, quality and stopping power are unmatched, and it is a peerless gun capable of bringing down almost any target. It does not use ammunition, but is powered by a power cell that lasts for several years. You will have to find or make a replacement power cell eventually. Dragon Egg. A dormant dragon egg. It will hatch for you if you provide the right incubating conditions, and grow into a powerful magical dragon that shares a mental link with you. Your dragon is intelligent and will be your closest companion, and needless to say will grow to be extremely large and powerful. A mature dragon is immune to almost all forms of weaponry and harm. The dragon's form and powers will change depending on the environment it grows up in. Ammo Crate. This ammo container, when opened, will always carry a crateful worth of quality ammunition for whatever guns you have on hand. It can also produce specialized variants of ammunition, like explosive or armor-piercing rounds, depending on your preference. The crate requires about 6 hours to recharge, or the ammunition quality will suffer when it is next used. Your Story. A weathered tome that tells the story of you. When you first open it, it will contain a written record of all the notable events from your life before the Rim. From then on, it will add pages and update itself as your story continues. By placing it by your pillow before going to sleep, you can relive any day of your choice from the past as you experienced it. The text is indecipherable to anyone not related to you by blood, unless you allow them to read it. Personal cloaking device. This device lets you become fully invisible when clipped to your clothes. You are fully invisible, no questions asked, no drawbacks or impossibilities due to physics. The charge lasts for 12 hours. Afterwards it is recharged through electricity or solar exposure. The device is very power efficient and will be fully charged after 1 hour. It must be off to recharge. Vulcan's Toolbox. A magical set of tools. While you work with these, you gain instinctive knowledge on the thing you're working on and how to fix it. You can repair any mechanical object with these as long as you have the materials. Building a house with amenities will be as straightforward as if you were an expert in construction. You do not retain any knowledge gained while holding the tools. Skill Injector. Liquid knowledge injected directly into the bloodstream. Each injector pertains to a specific skill, such as a language, trade skill, knowledge base or tool. Using one will instantly improve your proficiency in a chosen skill to a master level. Comes with 3 single-use injectors, and you choose which skill the injector upgrades when you pick this artifact. If you took Jack of all trades, this item can improve your skills past your normal limits. Solar Brooch. A brooch whose stone flickers and glows like the surface of the sun. When it is exposed to sunlight, it collects solar energy and stores it in the stone. The energy is transferred to the wearer over time, providing nutrients and improving his stamina. If you are constantly wearing the charged brooch, you will no longer need to eat, and only require 3 hours of sleep a night. The stone requires roughly 4 hours of direct sunlight to sustain a human for 24 hours. Antipathy Cloak. A silken blue cloak woven with a power antithetical to magic. While you wear it, incoming magical force that touches the cloak is blunted or fully negated. Attacks on your mind are much less effective as well. The material is tough but can be damaged by blades and bullets, so you'll want to be careful about how you use it. Hellraiser Gunship. An armoured, hovering aircraft armed to the teeth with missiles and machine gun batteries. It is highly manoeuvrable and moves through the sky quickly, letting you rain hell on your enemies from a safe position. Small arms fire has little chance of damaging the gunship, and its biggest weakness is other aircraft. Using a lot of fuel and the missiles are expensive to replace, assuming you can even find a dealer. Frumbo Mount. A gigantic, intelligent, graceful creature of unknown origin. It is gentle by nature, but extremely dangerous when enraged, with a horn capable of inflicting massive damage. Its long fur is exceptionally beautiful, and its hide is incredibly resistant to damage. You receive an infant Frumbo after moving into your home. It will imprint on you and grow into a powerful and loyal battle mount. Shield Generator. A personal protection device that projects a shield around the wearer. The device allows the user to select a force frequency for it to block, with the most common settings being for bullets, lasers, explosives, and melee attacks. When tuned to a particular setting, the shield will stop all incoming and outgoing force that matches it. If you set it to block bullets, bullets you fire and bullets coming at you will be deflected. The shield can be overloaded, but it can withstand a lot of punishment before this happens. After overloading, the shield requires a few minutes to recharge. Organ Printer. An advanced device with a simple function. It prints organs like a 3D printer prints plastic models. Organs can be made to your specifications, but this requires some advanced modeling and programming skills. It comes preset with the most common templates: heart, lungs, kidney, etc. No more will you need to creatively source your organs. Requires biomass for printing material. The Palimpsest. The Palimpsest is a secondary advanced device consisting of a single tube and attached console. It allows the user to alter the genetics of a subject inside his tube by entering commands through the console, which is simple enough for a child to use. It can alter height, appearance, intelligence, muscle mass, even add additional limbs or wildly change bodily structure. The subject must gestate in the tub for a few days to a few months, depending on the severity of the changes. You have no idea how it actually works, and reverse engineering it will be next to impossible. It uses a hellish amount of power, and people are going to want it badly if word gets out. Psi Booster. A brain implant that drastically increases the power of the user's psychic abilities, such as the telekinesis and telepathy powers. The Psi Booster requires a skilled surgeon to install without causing damage. The user may find his psychic powers initially difficult to control as he adjusts to the massive increase in strength. Antique Stopwatch. A brass stopwatch that is more than it seems. By winding the hands back, you can instantly jump 5 minutes into the past. This power has a 10-minute cooldown before it can be used again. Attempting to rewind before the stopwatch recharges will lead to unfortunate fate. The golden ticket. Is there someone you can't live without? Picking this lets you take that someone along with you for the ride. It will help with your mission, and you can pick for them up to 2 power selections. Can be taken multiple times. You can spend extra picks on a recipient of the ticket. Choose your companions. Feeling confident? You nod your head in response, but the stranger shakes his head. You're nothing on your own, kid, but that's okay. I have the pleasure of introducing you to some of the finest individuals this side of the rim. They'll have your back through thick and thin. Why are you doing this, you ask, not really expecting a response. It makes for a better story. The companions chosen will look to you as their leader and fight loyally by your side. The rest will be part of the world, but you will lose all knowledge of them. You may run into some of them, but they aren't guaranteed to join you, or even be friendly. Choose 6 companions to join you on your settlement. You may use your extra picks to select more. The Blade Master. The daughter of a wealthy family with many children from the free cities, she used her family's resources to perfect the art of the sword and make her own living. She can teach you and others her skills, but is a haughty and exacting teacher. She is aloof, but you will earn her admiration if you prove capable of matching her skill at arms. She wears mid-range power armor, then improves her speed and reflexes, but does not offer as much in protection and strength. Her swords are likewise high-tech affairs that cut through armored targets with ease. The Farmer. A simple man of the soil and native of the Rim, the farmer isn't afraid of a hard day's work. A master of agriculture, he will fill even the most inhospitable soil with life. He has a long-lost daughter he wishes to reunite with. Has a strong sense of right and wrong and won't tolerate evil or wanton cruelty directed at others, even from you. Friends with the Thinker. The Enforcer. The Enforcer worked with a group of bounty hunters before they were wiped out by the mercenary compound to establish market dominance. Now she'll happily torture enemies or hit them with her power fist. Her experience in advanced gear makes her ideal for fighting raiders. Despite being loyal to you, she is a sociopath and will not see your other companions as more than tactical allies. The Tactician. A master in all forms of military tactics and stratagem, as well as a powerful magician, the Tactician is a fantastic companion to have at your side in war. Together you can take on powers many times your own. He claims to have no memory of his past and is somewhat of a mystery in general, though you will rarely find his devotion to you to be in doubt. Some mysterious individuals from the expansionist theocracy will eventually come around and ask about him. Their intentions don't strike you as noble. The Doctor. Originally from an advanced planet, the Doctor came to the Rim on a humanitarian mission but was left behind. Now she patches up colonists in your medbay. She initially refused to fight or inflict harm, but time on the Rim has dulled her moral compunctions. She will complain about your medieval medbay, but fixes people better than any other companion. Rivals with the Scientist. The Prince. A deposed noble from the feudal kingdom, the Prince found refuge with you, and begrudgingly accepts you as the leader. He dreams of recovering his position, and will ask for your help in taking on his former kingdom at some point. Educated and refined, he is an incredible fighter and commander, but refuses to dirty his hands with dumb labor. Friends with the Scornful. The Toxicant. Of noble birth, the Toxicant loves nothing more than mixing wild concoctions. She'll create all sorts of poisons and explosives for you, no questions asked. She left the feudal kingdom to have space for her experiments, and her worried parents will send monthly care packages to your colony to ensure her well-being. The Prophet. Cursed with knowledge, the Prophet is a common peasant who was driven mad with glimpses of a dark future. If you take him in, you'll be subject to his ravings and ramblings. After a while, though, you notice his words have a predictive value that even future vision does not. What he predicts comes to pass, for good or ill, and cannot be changed. Will his words drive you mad too? The Huntress. The Huntress is a mysterious figure that you aren't even sure is human, since she never removes her mask in company. She is a peerless tracker and hunter, and can keep a group fed off of wild game. She is wild and won't sleep under a roof, refuses to speak of her past, and utterly terrifies tribal groups. She seems to only eat raw animal meat. At least, you think it's animal meat. The Mentor. Older than he looks, the Mentor is a stern but kind man. A fatherly figure, he will offer you his guidance and wisdom to help you reach your full potential. He has experience from wars long past, and is a capable warrior. A curmudgeon. He will scold you if you are constantly slacking off or being unproductive. He used to work with the Serpent's Library, and his contacts will help you get access to his knowledge without paying as high a price. The Enchantress. A mysterious beauty, the Enchantress has a voice that touches the soul. She can sing to trees and flowers and have them grow or twist into new forms by asking nicely. Accidents and harm seem to roll off of her, and many claim she is blessed by the gods. She was betrothed to the Raider King, but escaped. He will do everything in his power to bring her back. The Man. The Man is a smooth operator from the Free Cities, swanky and charming. He always has a card up his sleeve and a pistol in his coat. If you choose him, he'll inevitably embroil you in one of his schemes involving other factions in the Rim, which can bring you ruin or great wealth and power. If you don't pick him, you'll be sure to hear of him soon, or feel the aftermath of his plans. Rivals with the Agent. The Sharpshooter. A former contract killer with the mercenary compound, the Sharpshooter can shoot the eye out of a target from miles away. She is likely the best shot on the Rim, and will make raiders think twice before coming after you. She is socially stunted, and you will have a hard time getting her to interact with anyone outside of work-related matters. The Outlaw. An unreformed raider. He is a murderous thug, but recognized your potential and voluntarily became your man. He is comfortable fighting with a gun or up close, and will not hesitate to follow an order, no matter how depraved or immoral. He has unfinished business with the Raider King, and will encourage you to take him down. If you succeed, he'll be able to get many of the raiders under your banner. Civilized groups will dislike his involvement with you. Enemies with the blacksmith. The Magician. A hard worker from the Magic Enclave, the Magician is an expert in elemental magic, and will help you master it if you have the aptitude. A bit of a stick in the mud, she would much prefer to study in science or work than socialize, but will be happy to accommodate for you in study sessions, or get you an audience with the Enclave. She is naive and seemingly sheltered from the outside world, and her clothes and demeanor indicate a wealthy or noble background. Friends with the Whisperer. The Thinker. Perfection of the mind requires perfection of the body, according to the Thinker. Originally a tribal nomad, he is a warrior and an autodidactic philosopher, and will put forth his talents in either to you. Can fight your enemies, help you unlock the secrets of the natural world, or help legitimize your divine right to empire. He'll also encourage you to train your mind and body alongside him. Friends with the Farmer. The Retainer. The Retainer was a bodyguard for a feudal kingdom noble, but lost her job after her employer lost his position. Now she'll do her best to protect you, but not because she likes you or anything. She is an extremely fast and agile combatant who will fight your enemies on the battlefield and bully those that cause you trouble off of it. Big on fashion, she'll keep you in the know of the latest trends and styles to keep up appearances with heads of state. Friends with the Servant. The Shadow. Quiet as the grave, the Shadow is a man that seems to always look straight through you. He seems to disappear the moment he wants to, and you aren't sure how he does it. He is a quiet killer on the battlefield, as well as an excellent thief and spy. Becomes very warm and protective of you once you get to know him a bit better. Friends with the Psychic. The Psychic. As a child, the Psychic exhibited exceptional psionic talent. She was kidnapped by the rogue scientists, who experimented on her to develop the perfect psychic warrior until a sympathetic traveler freed her. Now her skills in telekinesis and telepathy are augmented by countless implants, operations, and brutal training regimens. She is proficient with a sword that channels her mental powers. She has an emotionally stunted and repressed personality, but is curious and eager to be shown the world. Her powers sometimes manifest in extremely destructive mental breaks when she loses control. Friends with the Shadow. The Businessman. A wolfish corporate dealer from an advanced world. You can never get a read on the businessman. You're sure he's had several people killed during the course of his career. He won't say how he came to the Rim, but if you need someone to make a deal, he's your man. Has a love of strategy games and is willing to play you in any game you can think of, anytime. Protective of the Assistant. The Fallen. Formerly part of the Holy Order of Templars, the Fallen became involved in some dark happening that scandalized the group, and was subsequently driven out. She is a skilled fighter and even stronger with summoning magic, specializing in calling on dark spirits. She is intensely loyal to you, though she is hated by the Templars and your reputation will suffer with them if you take her in. Enemies with the Crusader. The Scientist. A ruthless climber, the Scientist found himself abandoned on the Rim after his lack of ethics led his colleagues to ditch him there. He hasn't changed since then, but his brains and skills are undeniable. He will allow you to advance the tech level of your colony rapidly. He has a drug habit that you'll have to break or pay for. Rivals with the Doctor. The Exile. Dishonorably discharged from an advanced world's military, the Exile fled with a power armor and charge rifle. She will fight for you in exchange for a place to stay, and her training and gear make her a peerless warrior. However, her home planet will send people after her, and you, once they learn of her whereabouts. The Captain. An honourable man and stalwart ally, the Captain used to command one of the finest ships on the Rim, before a betrayal left him marooned and his ship in the hands of the pirate band. Now he works for you. He's still getting his land legs, but the Captain is an excellent leader of men, and has a wealth of wisdom to offer you. He has many merchant contracts and knows everyone in the sailing game. If you desire naval supremacy or just want a field commander, he is an obvious choice to lead. Friends with the Explorer. The Musician. Formerly from the Serpent's Library, the Musician is a wanderer who can play the most haunting melodies with her flute. Her songs leave men bawling on the ground, though she insists it isn't through magic. Travellers will travel from all around the Rim to your settlement to hear her performance. She mentioned the stranger to you offhand, though you haven't been able to get her to talk about him since. The Mechanic. A raunchy old coot who left the military isolationists, the Mechanic can get anything working with a few smacks from a spanner and enough elbow grease. He's too old and has seen too much to care what people think of him, and says whatever is on his mind. Usually it's offensive. Will quickly become your drinking buddy if you like. Father of the fledgling. The Merchant. A penny-pinching miser from the Free Cities, the Merchant is a saleswoman who would sell her own mother for some profit. She has a slimy personality but knows her business. If you choose her, she will set up shop at your base and attract customers with her wares. You will get a cut, but she won't help you out with defense or maintaining your colony. If you have valuable goods to sell, she can partner with you to sell them hassle-free, while you pocket most of the profit. The Agent. A smooth operator, the Agent is here to look good and sip martinis. As at home talking to commoners as he is mingling in high society, he can be your infiltrator, frontman or spy. He won't say where he's from, but has many contacts that will be yours to tap should he join you, and he's a crack shot to boot. He is a lecher and a drunk, which may cause some friction in your group. Rivals with the Man. The Crusader. A member of the Holy Order of Templars, the Crusader joins you as a liaison after they recognize your power. Friendly and outgoing, she'll drink you under the table or beat you in arm wrestling. Capable in melee and knowledgeable in small-scale tactics, but dislikes using newer tech. She takes a quick liking to you, and your relations with the Holy Order of Templars will be excellent as a result. Enemies with the Fallen. The Fledgling. A talented up-and-coming engineer, the Fledgling has a lot of theoretical knowledge but no practical experience. Clueless and naive to the world, he will nevertheless learn quickly if you're willing to support his growth. He will prove irreplaceable in the long term, but will not be of much help to you immediately. Son of the Mechanic. The Maiden. Beautiful and graceful, the Maiden was a high-ranking priestess of the expansionist theocracy before joining you. She is a gifted magician, capable of working miraculous healing through her hands. She is friendly and flirtatious, but there seems to be a darker side to her, and powers she is keeping secret. She will whisper in your ear as you expand your colony, guiding you as you navigate the power politics of church and state. Enemies with the Father. The Explorer. Go everywhere, see everything. That's the Explorer's motto. That was until he got on the bad side of too many groups. Now he's with you. Chances are, if you want to know about a place, the Explorer has been there, or knows something about it. He brought several powerful, liberated artifacts from his time raiding ruins with the Exploration Society. He makes for an excellent scout or cartographer, blazing trails and uncovering secrets in your service. Friends with the Captain. The Assistant. Formerly a secretary living on an urban world, the Assistant is quite lost on the Rim. She has little in the way of survival or combat skills, but will make a capable administrator for your colony, especially if you decide to expand it. At the very least, she can plan out your schedule and meetings with great efficiency. Intimidated by the businessman. The Marine. The Marine's ship was shot down in space, and you rescued him after his escape pod landed badly on the rim. He feels duty-bound to follow you. His cataphract armor and weapons were nearly destroyed in the crash, but he is a force to be reckoned with regardless. If you can somehow fix his gear, he becomes nearly unstoppable. He will never remove his helmet. The Artificer. A chem-addled crafter from another planet, the Artificer can build and repair all sorts of advanced weapons and body modifications for you, assuming you have the right equipment and materials. She is unfortunately dangerously unhinged, and is prone to frequent violent outbursts, usually while she is armed with power tools. The Blacksmith. A former raider with the Raider King, the Blacksmith swore to live an honest life after the violence became too much for him. He is dedicated to his craft as a smith, and will forge powerful weapons for your colony. In addition, he has expertise in base construction and is a strong fighter, but only when he is in a self-defense situation. Enemies with the Outlaw. The Whisperer. Gentle and kind, the Whisperer has an affinity for animals and they instinctively flock to her. She can befriend and train even wild animals like bears for use in your colony. She will tolerate your group eating meat, but will not eat it herself. She will, however, not tolerate wanton cruelty to animals. She comes from the naturalist commune and can introduce you to them. Friends with the Magician. The Cook. The Cook used to feed an entire starship until it crashed on the rim. Now he cooks for you. An expert in all aspects of food, from butchering to preparation, it is his true passion and joy. He is capable of making truly gourmet meals, but prefers to save those for special occasions. Still, you'll eat well every day with him on the team. Gets agitated if he has nothing to cook. The Servant. Dour and gloomy, the servant spent most of her life working for a noble in the feudal kingdom. That noble was recently deposed, leaving her out of work. She can cook, clean, sew, etc. The whole array of household maintenance skills, all in exchange for food and a place to stay. The servant is a strict professional and will keep your secrets. She can regale you with gossip and sordid drama concerning the kingdom's nobles, but will not betray the confidence of her former master. Skilled with knives. Friends with a retainer. The Father. The Father is a kindly priest that was driven from his church by raiders. Now he continues his work from your colony. He provides spiritual aid to your troubled companions, and you if you desire. He also has a wealth of academic knowledge on all kinds of topics, from planting to conflict resolution to magic. He does not fight. His faith is a distant descendant of Christianity, and he is respected by people and groups that share it, as will you if he's with you. Enemies with the Maiden. The Scornful. A haughty princess of the feudal kingdom, the Scornful will meet you early on but won't join until you prove your worth to her. She will never join if you don't pick her now. Her will and beauty are renowned through the rim, and all eyes will be on you if she deems you worthy of following. She will not perform base labor, but is intelligent, well-connected, forceful, and extremely rich. Friends with the prince. The Master. The blood of gods must run in the Master's veins. He is the simplest explanation for his power. He is the greatest mind, deadliest warrior, strongest magician, and most forceful personality you have or will ever meet. He is driven, and reality walks to his whim. He has taken interest in you, and will allow you to join as his right hand on his path to ascension. The Master far outstrips you in power, and you won't be his equal until years of practice and study. If you choose him, you will be a follower in his epic tale, and the other companions are his, not yours. Of course, you'd be on the winning team. If you don't choose him, he'll still be out there, gaining power. One day, your paths may cross. Choose your neighbours. The stranger nods after you tell him your choices of companions. Fine choices, all of them. Let's just hope you don't have any regrets when you run into the ones you didn't choose. I thought you said I wouldn't necessarily meet them. You will, as long as it makes for an entertaining story. Speaking of people you'll meet. The stranger presents you with another series of choices. The flashes in your mind are more abstract than before, You see the broad outlines of civilizations, great and small, noble and terrible. The Rim is a crowded place. There are many groups out there, each one hungry and looking to secure its power and existence. Many of your companions are from or have history with these factions. If you didn't choose one of them, odds are they're still with their group. You stop to ponder the implications. Do these factions exist regardless of whether I pick them or not? Correct! The stranger's eyes flash. They'll be somewhere on the Rim, usually on the continent you're living on. Picking a group ensures they, or one of their settlements, will be much closer to your land. And don't think you'll be seeing everything there is to see. The Rim has many more groups to meet and secrets to behold. It's time to choose your neighbouring factions. Choose 4 neutral groups and at least 3 hostile groups. You can choose more neutral groups by spending picks, or add more hostile groups to gain their picks. You can also spend a pick to take one less hostile neighbour, up to 3 times. Neutral factions. Feudal Kingdom. The dominant force on the continent, the Feudal Kingdom is an advanced, powerful and sprawling civilization. Their society is modelled off of old Europe, with tiers of nobility and peasantry, kept forcefully in cultural stasis. Most citizens have access to advanced technology, with many sporting augments or implants. The kingdom has limited space travel, but only for high-ranking nobles. You can become one, but it requires navigating their staggeringly complex internal politics. The dominant faith worships the Free Storytellers, one of the largest free religions on the Rim. Their cities are defended by railguns, but the military prefers to fight with swords in a high-tech medieval lob. The kingdom's dominance makes them complacent, but if threatened they will awaken as a true titan of war. Holy Order of Templars. A castle constructed to house the priests that work to convert groups in the region to a distant descendant of Christianity, one of the 3 largest religions on the Rim. The base is but one arm of a large, powerful and distant Holy Kingdom elsewhere on the Rim, and is guarded by devoted paladins and crusaders who protect the priests and put the sword to enemies of the faith. The Templars are at odds with the Feudal Kingdom and free cities, and are sworn enemies of the expansionist theocracy. They also root out summoning magic, wherever they find it. Depending on your interactions with them, they will become staunch allies or deadly enemies. Their tech level is medieval, but most paladins are adept magic users. Tribal Nomads. A nomadic hunter-gatherer tribe that performs a migratory loop across the land in search of food and supplies. Their migration path brings them across your land every few years, and your presence will be a great surprise to them when they first find you. You can trade with the group for animal skins or force them off your land, though this will result in conflict. If you develop good relations with them, they will return with gifts and tell you what they have seen on the Rim in their recent travels. If your land is a migratory hotspot, it will be of extreme importance to the tribe, and they will make their way to your land much more frequently to hunt, or show up every few years even if you didn't pick them as a neighbour. Incompatible with urban decay. Magic Enclave. A group of magicians that banded together to study the vagaries of magic with as much insulation as possible from the chaos of the Rim. Their enclaves are dotted throughout the Rim, with one in close proximity to your land. They are isolationist, only interacting with the outside world to trade for what supplies they can't create themselves, and accordingly dislike outsiders. If you can demonstrate your magical worth to them, they will allow you to access some of their books and records and let you trade for magical items. However, they will not truly welcome you as one of their own unless your colony is mostly isolationist, seeking your motives as being for power and dominance, rather than knowledge for its own sake. Transhumanist Group. A group of people who wish to transcend the bonds of flesh. They set up in a factory and spend their time researching and creating augments, implants and mech suits. They aren't interested in chatting, unless you can trade them something useful for this mission, or demonstrate your interest in this goal. They can trade you all sorts of mechanical marvels, but more powerful groups have them in their crosshairs. At some point, they'll be wiped out and have their tech stolen by another faction, unless you can guarantee their independence. Free City. One of several prosperous city-states unassociated with other factions of the Rim. It is a bustling trade centre, with groups from all around using it as a neutral platform to buy and sell goods. There is a great deal of crime and wealth inequality, with technology being very unevenly distributed. Defence and policing is done by loosely organised militias, with the city's independence mostly ensured by the disruption to trade that would occur should one group forcibly take it over. If you need to buy something, chances are you can get it here, for a price. Agrarian Village. A village of sustenance farming peasants, loosely connected by a church and minor noble. They are poor, using primitive technology, and are technically under the banner of the feudal kingdom. Remotely located and of little strategic importance, the feudal kingdom mostly turns a blind eye to the raider groups that prey upon them. If you demonstrate your value as a protector, the villagers will practically beg you to reincorporate under your banner. The kingdom will not be pleased about this, but with enough money or diplomatic power, you can likely smooth things over. Frontier Town. A hub of travellers heading to a particularly lawless and unexplored part of the Rim after someone struck gold. The buildings are ramshackle, thrown up in a night or less, and the people are explorers, criminals, mercenaries, and others looking to seek their fortune. The rest of the population is made up of enterprising merchants, selling them the shovels. The town is a crime-ridden hellhole, but rapidly growing, and you can potentially lay claim to it and shape its future development. Military isolationists. The descendants of the military of an advanced world that plunged into a dark age, the isolationists relocated to the Rim and set up bases, hoping to preserve their technology and culture. Generations later, they are a powerful but reclusive force, living in scattered underground bases, and developing technology to hoard it amongst themselves. They see denizens of the Rim as backward savages, and have very little interest in interacting with outsiders. Their technology is incredibly advanced, with all of them sporting power armor and charged weaponry. If you can convince them to not shoot on sight, they can eventually be persuaded to trade some of their tech or arms in exchange for difficult favors. Naturalist Commune. A group of artists, craftsmen and naturalists who left a glitter world, a hyper-advanced techno-paradise, to rough it in tune with nature and the Rim. They eschew any technology not seen in the 17th century, with the exception of the advanced weaponry they use to scare off raiders. They produce high-end furniture, art, calligraphy and sculptures, and will trade them to you in exchange for food and supplies. Their continued existence is an open question, if one of the more powerful groups sets their rise on the commune. Peaceful Tribe. A group of tribals whose culture values peace and understanding with their neighbours. They are descended from a group of humans who backslid in scientific progress after warring amongst themselves and now view all advanced technology as magical and wondrous. They fish, hunt and grow food, and they will eagerly trade these products to you in exchange for what you can offer them. They are often preyed upon by raiders and stronger groups, and will view you as saviours if you can defend them from harm. Science Outpost. A remote research base set up on the Rim by an advanced world. It is crewed by a group of scientists of varying disciplines, and defended by automated turrets and robots. Most raiders leave it alone after tasting the firepower of their defences. If your colony has enough scientific output to be of value to the scientists, they will collaborate with you on research and projects. Should you decide to capture, poach or otherwise disrupt the scientists, you might draw ire from the planet that sent them. Mercenary Compound. A base of off-world mercenaries who saw the riches to be made in hiring out their services to warring groups on the Rim. They are well trained and wield advanced war gear, with power armor, airships, bombers and charged weapons. They do not grow food or trade for supplies, instead relying on regular supply runs from off-world. The mercs will not trade their tech, nor are they interested in being friends. They're here for your money, and will turn their guns on whoever pays the right price. Of course, this means other groups can pay them to head your way. Exploration Society. One of several outposts of an off-world society of explorers, seeking to understand and catalogue the secrets of the Rim. The outpost is a hub of activity, with groups of explorers constantly venturing forth and reporting their findings. If your land has features of interest, they will be willing to trade supplies or information in exchange for being allowed to survey it. In addition, they are willing to buy artifacts of historical or cultural significance off of you. Their tech level is spacer, with some members carrying power armor and charge weapons, but most of them use stuff they can source and replace on the Rim for budgetary reasons. The Serpent's Library. A massive, mysterious library that is even bigger on the inside. Its walls are lined with books and practically everything, with shelves and rooms that seem to go into infinity. Almost all knowledge can be found here, with enough time, and by paying the right price. Finding and entering the library is a task in and of itself, as it is not visible to those who haven't been inside before. Entering requires paying a price proportionate to the knowledge you seek. You can pay in secrets or other things personally valuable to you. The library is run by seemingly ageless librarians. If they decide you are misusing the library or its knowledge, they will turn on you. You don't want to be inside when that happens. Another colony. A burgeoning colony that starts around the same time as your own. It is similar to your settlement in more ways than seems coincidental. The colony's land has several points of interest, and is run by a group of individuals as distinct and interesting as your own crew. You could have sworn the group's leader was using one of Randy's artifacts, and that you saw him using some of the powers you saw on offer. What is going on here? Hostile factions. Cannibal sect. One of your neighbouring factions has a group with unusual tastes. They operate in the darkness, unknown to you or the rest of their faction, gathering once a month for a dark feast. They're said to have taken a particular interest in consuming you, believing that partaking in your flesh will grant them some of your powers. Watch your back. The cannibal sect will be in a random neutral faction, unknown to you. You will not be aware of their existence, least of all that they're looking to have you for dinner. Warlike tribe. A neighbouring group of tribals whose culture holds dominance and war in the highest esteem. They will savagely raid you and other nearby groups looking to secure kills, loot and slaves to rise in status. Their technology is primitive, but they are incredibly cunning and will strike when you least expect and where it is least convenient. Underestimate them at your peril. Pirate Band. Your land is in the stomping ground of a not-so-merry band of pirates. Their ships number in the dozens, and they mercilessly prey upon coastal settlements and any ships in their path. Even if you prove to be too thorny a target, they will destroy merchant ships and assault your neighbours, making trade a nightmare. They have an island base of operations, but no one is sure where it is, and captured pirates seem to be incapable of even describing it. Exclusive to island settlement or ocean coast. Dark Cult. Shadowy figures inhabiting a modest church to an unknown deity. They have locations dotted throughout the Rim, and work in secret to bring about the coming of their god. The cultists will attempt to infiltrate your and other nearby factions, kidnapping people for sacrifice, and spreading the worship of their deity. Many of the cultists are powerful magicians, but their tech level is low. You aren't sure what, if anything, their actions will lead to, but it would likely not be wise to wait around and see. Witch Coven. A group of beautiful, seductive women with powerful magical abilities. They are a small group, but wield disproportionate power relative to their size, bending the leaders of other factions to their will. Shortly after you start your colony, an envoy of them will approach you with the offer, or demand, to join their retinue of protectors. If you decline to work for them, they will do everything they can to pressure or force you into the fold, casting curses, summoning monsters, and sowing distrust among your allies. Gain 1 extra pick. Mutant Raiders. A group of ordinary raiders that broke into a sealed military cache. The cache had ancient power armor and advanced weaponry, but something in there twisted their forms and broke their minds. Now they are a deadly, rampaging group of hulking, machine-augmented monsters. They don't want wealth, power, slaves, or anything, but the chance to cause destruction and misery, and they won't stop killing until you put them down. Gain 1 extra pick. Mechanoid Menace. An orbiting hive of autonomous, inscrutable, and deadly mechanoids takes an interest in your colony. You will suffer random attacks from it as it drops reaving robots directly into your base. Lands large mechanoid-producing hives by your borders, and otherwise makes your life a living hell. Unlike other factions, there is no terrestrial base to hit back at. Each attack is deadly, and requires your full attention to deal with. Gain 1 extra pick. House of Blood. An ornate mansion of wealth and taste. Its inhabitants are those who have been given the dark gift, whether by choice or by force. Each vampire is old, cunning, strong, and magically gifted, thirsting for blood and power, including yours. They have the ability to turn ordinary people into frows or make them full-blooded vampires, and will not hesitate to raise a massive army of newborns if they are threatened. If you have the dark gift, most of them will see you as a rising threat to squash, but some will be willing to join ranks if you demonstrate your power over the others. Gain 1 extra pick. Beast Kingdom. Originally men who were twisted into hulking, beast-like abominations for genetic experiments, the Beast Kingdom is the rapidly growing domain of a few escaped test subjects. Their intelligence is low and their tech is primitive, but the beastmen far outstrip any human in physical strength and rapidly breed, which has let them explode in number and strength. Their raids are quick and brutal, issuing treasure in favor of causing destruction. If challenged, they will form an army in the thousands. They have no fear of death, and only wish to bring ruin to all civilizations of man. Gain 1 extra pick. The Great Intelligence. Created as a planet-destroying bioweapon, the Great Intelligence was inadvertently released from a lab and seeded itself on the Rim. Over hundreds of years, its roots spread for miles under the Earth, and now it has awakened and begun to look outward. Intelligent and cunning, the plant manifests itself as large, fruit-bearing growths. Humans who eat the fruit or spend too long next to the growths have their minds hijacked and become servants of the intelligence. It is not necessarily malicious, but its mind is incredibly alien and cannot be reasoned with. It sees no problem with subjugating all lower life forms. Gain 1 extra pick. Rogue Scientists. A group of scientists from an advanced world who came to the Rim to carry out torturous experiments and develop deadly bioweapons. They have unleashed many terrors upon the Rim, including the Beast Kingdom, and see all neighbouring populations as repositories of test subjects. Their combat is extremely secure, defended with powerful turrets and thick walls, and the scientists use airships and advanced weaponry. They are utterly uncaring of the destruction they cause or the lives they ruin, including you and your colony. Gain 1 extra pick. The Raider King. A strong faction led by a mysterious, powerful man known as the Raider King. He united many of the disparate raider groups under his banner years ago, and now has fortress cities spread throughout the Rim. They do not so, instead taking the supplies, arms and slaves they want from other groups. The raiders have formidable gear and weapons, with the king sporting a suit of mastercrafted noble power armor and a matching sword. He is rumored to be immortal, psychic and a weapon master, who can instantly appear and disappear. You aren't sure what to believe, and you won't know for sure until you meet him. One of the Raider King's bases is near your land, and it seems they have taken a special interest in you. Gain 2 extra picks. Insectoid Hive Cluster. Miles of Blightlands dominated by countless towering insectoid hives, stretching as far as the eye can see. Each hive carries hundreds to thousands of huge, strong, genetically engineered insects that originally hitched a ride to the Rim on a ship hundreds of years ago. There are many small infestations of the Rim, especially in hills, but this is the largest concentration of the bugs. They are not outright hostile, but see humans as food, and their hives are slowly expanding each year. Gain 2 extra picks. Expansionist Theocracy. Perhaps the strongest power on the Rim, the Expansionist Theocracy is an empire that worships their God-King founder, a man with unparalleled power. They are the dominant force on their own continent, steadily growing and subjugating the other groups that share their space. They have advanced technology, their generals are magicians that ride intelligent dragons into battle, and their leader is said to be unkillable. Their religion is one of the 3 largest on the Rim, and is steadily growing in followers. If you pick them, they will set up a colonizing city somewhere on your continent as you begin your settlement. If not, they will focus on their own space, for the time being. Gain 2 extra picks. Does not exist if you recruited the master. Choose your threat. You lock in the choice of neighbouring factions with the stranger, wondering if you made the right decisions. No way of knowing until it's too late. Interesting decisions, the stranger remarks. This is going to make for an excellent story, but we have a little more work to do before I let you go. Tragedy is the spice of life, and I want to ensure you get your share. Pick your poison, so to speak. It's time to choose what threats you'll have to contend with. They all seem terrible for you, but some less than others. You know by now the stranger will reward you for challenging yourself. Choose at least one threat to face. You can choose more to gain their additional picks. Burn the Heretic. You are branded a heretic of one of the largest religions on the Rim, either the descendant of Christianity, followed by the Holy Kingdom, or the faith of the Free Storytellers, followed by the Feudal Kingdom. Regardless of which religion you choose, its followers will hate and shun you, or worse, turning many neutral factions unfriendly, or outright hostile. Companions of that faith will still follow you, but are likewise branded as heretics. Revenge of the Raiders. A spacefaring rich eccentric decides to amuse himself as he passes by the Rim, by arming the Raider factions with high-end armor, gear and charge weapons biolocked to only be usable by them. Raids are about to get much, much deadlier. Affects Warlike Tribe, Pirate Band, Mutant Raiders, Beast Kingdom, and Raider King. Your rivals. Early on, you or a companion will run into and badly slight the leader of another colony, and his faction will declare a blood feud on yours. They will dedicate themselves to your destruction, launching raids, attacking trade caravans, and trying to turn neutral parties against you. There is no negotiation. Your only recourse is to crush them. Having started under similar conditions as yours, the empty colony will have roughly the same power level, and will attempt to match you as you gain strength. Blood Moon. Twice a year, when the moon fully eclipses the sun, the resulting blood moon forces all humans, that is light touches, to undergo a monstrous transformation and savagely attack everything living in sight. This effect lasts until the dawn of the next day, when the moon is no longer in the sky. The transformed person is not in control of their body, and will have no recollection of what they did after they changed back. The effect triggers if light falls upon unprotected skin. Incompatible with Dusk Falls. The Ghost Signal. 5 years in, an artificial intelligence in a hidden underground base somewhere in the Rim awakens to carry out its function. It begins to emit a signal that gains strength and reach as time goes on. The signal disrupts the neurological functions of biological creatures, at first causing dullness and headaches, then increasing in effect to permanent nerve damage, followed by total insanity and death after a few weeks. Once the AI activates, you are on a clock to find and shut down the signal, or else all life on the Rim will be at risk. Gain 1 extra pick. Ice Age. 1 month in, global temperatures drastically cool as the Rim enters a rapid onset ice age. Days are shorter, and growing seasons last half as long, leading to global food shortages and strife. Resources and trade will become more scarce, and conflicts over what there is will ramp up. Dark days are ahead. Incompatible with Dusk Falls, Tidal Lock. Gain 1 extra pick. Null and Void. Once per year on the 11th calendar week, all magic fails for 7 days. During this time, no spells can be cast, all magical gear and artifacts fail, and all of your powers leave you, and everyone else in the Rim. 1 week a year completely free of magic for everyone. Gain 1 extra pick. Underground Manipulators. A mysterious and inscrutable cabal of men dedicate themselves to causing chaos. They are all independently wealthy, powerful and connected. Each will attempt to infiltrate and subvert all groups in the Rim, including yours, to drive them to war and ruin. The Cabal members have no powers to speak of, but their minds are guarded, and a mental search will turn up no trace of their true intentions. They have no rational motive and cannot be bargained with. Their only motive is sadistic pleasure. You will not remember picking this threat. Gain 1 extra pick. Lonesome Road. You don't need anyone tripping you up or getting in your way. You certainly don't need the people the stranger offered you. You no longer get to recruit any of the companions from Part 5. You will still be able to form a settlement and recruit strangers, but the powerful and loyal companions the stranger offered will never join. Gain 1 extra pick. War in Heaven. 2 years in, tensions between factions in the feudal kingdom escalate, until an all-out civil war begins. The sleeping giant awakens, and even when split in half, each side has more settlements, superior technology, and greater numbers than your colony. Each side expects all smaller factions to pledge themselves. You will not be able to stay neutral, whether that means you join a side or take your own. Once a faction wins and consolidates power, it will seek retribution against all groups that stayed neutral or fought against them. Gain 1 extra pick. Air Raids. 1 year in, someone with a lot of money and a bone to pick sets up a nearly unlimited fund at the mercenary compound. From then on, any group that wishes you ill can go to the mercenaries and have them perform a bombing run on your colony for free. Nothing personal. If you want to avoid getting bombed into the Stone Age, you'll have to invest heavily into anti-air or completely wipe out the mercenary compound. Gain 1 extra pick. Rogue Titan. 3 years in, a colossal war titan, the size of a small mountain, left behind by an ancient civilization, awakens and goes haywire. It will march unstoppably, but aimlessly through the Rim, annihilating everything in its path. Its durability and destructive power outstrip anything else on the planet, and it will continue indefinitely. You must find a way to destroy or disable it before you find yourself in its path. Gain 1 extra pick. Close the Gate. Every 11 years, a massive portal to Hell opens somewhere random on the Rim, and the army of Hell marches out to conquer. The only way to stem the tide is to close the gate. The hellish army is stronger than any force on the Rim, but all powers, including raiders, usually put aside their differences to stop the incursion. Gain 1 extra pick. Perils of magic. 2 years in, something fundamental changes with the universe, and magic no longer works as it did. Magicians suffer a risk of demonic possession, spontaneous insanity, or opening themselves and those around them to demonic attack. All magic becomes a risk to use. A magician's resistance to the perils increases with his willpower and stamina, and decreases when he grows fatigued or emotional. The Dark Cult and Witch Cavern will dedicate themselves to summoning the demons into the world, and helping them gain power. Gain 1 extra pick. The Mist. Once a year, and at random, an impenetrable mist will roll through the rim, obscuring all. Various things move inside the fog. Gargantuan, hostile, deadly creatures that attack any human life they sense. Your only recourse is to take shelter indoors and make as little noise as possible. Make sure the doors stay shut and the walls stay up. Those caught without shelter can only be identified by the viscera left behind afterwards. The mist can last from 3 days to 3 weeks, depending on your luck. Gain 1 extra pick. Supermassive solar storm. On a random day, 6 years in, a coronal mass ejection from the rim's sun occurs, breaking through the atmosphere and wreaking havoc on the planet's electronics. Your power grid will fail, electronic devices will die, and vehicles and power armor will go haywire. Disconnecting and powering off a device will spare some damage, but little will escape the coming geomagnetic storm. Getting things back online will take months to years, depending on your skills and available supplies. It will be years before the rim recovers from this event. Gain 1 extra pick. Incompatible with Dusk Falls. A unique specimen. 2 years in, the rogue scientists send video of you to their home planet, convincing them that you are a unique specimen worthy of dissection to gain insight into your powers. You now have the attention of an advanced hostile planet looking to kidnap and put you under anesthetics on a surgery table. They'll come for you soon. Incompatible with Classic Mode. Gain 1 extra pick. Artificial Hell. A spacefaring civilization decides to indefinitely use your planet as testing grounds for environmental weapons. All settlements on the planet will be subject to artificial nuclear winters, radioactive fallout, intense natural disasters, wild temperate swings, and genetically engineered monsters. Anything they can think of. These tests come at random, and at the whims of the civilization. Gain 1 extra pick. Tidal Lock. 6 years in, the civilization from Artificial Hell pulls off a massive feat of engineering and tightly locks the rim's rotation to its sun. No longer will the sun rise and set. Instead, there will be a hellishly hot bright zone and a dark zone as cold as deep space, as the sun is eternally locked to one half of the planet. Differences in atmospheric pressure lead to brutal storms all over the rim, and the only habitable land will be in the twilight zone between light and dark. Naturally, everyone on the planet will try and secure a place in the safe zone, leading to desperate conflicts. Gain 2 extra picks. Incompatible with Ice Age, Dusk Falls, the Advanced Force. Dusk Falls. 12 years and a day in, the sun will fall and never rise again, as your local star ceases to emit light. The sun will no longer shine on your planet, and it is up to you to figure out how to survive from here. Gain 2 extra picks. Incompatible with Ice Age, Tidal Lock, Blood Moon. Grey Tide. 8 years in, a hidden weapon somewhere in the rim is inadvertently awakened by a group of explorers. The Grey Tide is a biomechanical hive mind that converts all available biomass into more of itself. It spreads rapidly and consumes all. If you don't quickly stop its advance, it will cover the rim at an exponential rate. The Grey Tide will not have much capacity to fight back when you initially attack it, but it is capable of rapidly adapting to learn from your tactics, as well as improve in its form to fight back. If the solar storm occurred, the Grey Tide will not appear until 10 years in. Gain 2 extra picks. The Advanced Force. 7 years in, an advanced planet decides the time is right for colonizing the rim. They land an advanced force somewhere on your continent to begin taming and terraforming the land, as well as slaughtering anyone already on it. The force is equipped with power armor, charge weapons and vehicles, and airships superior to anything seen on the rim. Their supplies and forces are constantly reinforced from space. As the advanced force gains ground, they will land more forces, construct more buildings, and gain a tighter grip on the rim. They do not bargain. Your only options are to lie down, get off the rim, or utterly annihilate them. As they gain ground, more and more factions will see them as an existential threat and join you in fighting them. Gain 2 extra picks, incompatible with Tidal Lock. The Master Triumphant. 4 years in, the expansionist theocracy will finish the conquest of his home continent and turn his hungry gaze to yours. Led by the Master and his 11 generals, all riding elemental dragons, the Empire will quickly establish a foothold on your continent, crushing all resistance in the way. The Master has power without equal, and has grown stronger since you started. He will briefly give you a chance to join him as one of his generals. You can build alliances with the other factions to fight him, or take him on yourself. If you picked expansionist theocracy, this threat will occur a year earlier, and the Master starts with a sizable foothold on your continent. Gain 2 extra picks, incompatible with the Master. Roll the dice. Feeling lucky? I hope you are. I won't say what exactly this does yet, but I can tell you that it might not even be bad for you. Of course, it could turn out terribly. I can't make any guarantees. Only one way to find out, right? Gain 2 extra picks. Choose your ambition. You grimly lock in the choice of threat, hoping it's one you can handle. The stranger nods and leans in close. You can smell a cigarette on his breath. There's no point to conflict if you aren't fighting for something. I want your reason to struggle. What will be your legacy on the Rim? Various futures flash before your eyes. Each involves you making different life choices. The stranger expects great and terrible things from you, and you must decide on an ambition to work towards during your time on the Rim. Once you've accomplished it, the stranger will give you the option of returning to your old life, or the opportunity to meet him again. If you choose neither, you will live out the rest of your existence in the life you've made for yourself. Choose one ambition. If you want to challenge yourself, you can choose more. Escape. Gotta leave it all behind. You're sick of the violent hellhole that is the Rim. It's a big universe you've been dropped into, and you can see it much better from space. You must build a ship capable of leaving the Rim, and take it into space with your colony. You must do this under your own power, not hitch a ride on someone else's ship. Tread carefully. Once word of it gets out, every force on the continent that also wants to leave will come and try and take your ship by force. The new Raider King. He's like you. There's no pretending otherwise. You know he's met and received gifts from the stranger, and it seems inevitable for the two of you to clash. He's had years to develop his powers and expand his forces, and has become a huge force on the continent in that time. Your goal is to surpass him, and take all of his work for yourself, becoming the new Raider King in his place. This is perhaps one of the easier ambitions, but will nonetheless be a fearsome challenge. Age of Exploration. The Rim is unlike any other place. Why leave before you've seen it all? Your goal is to explore every inch of the Rim, see everything there is to see, every faction, leader, sea, mountain, species, and cave. You'll be at it for a long time, but what's the rush when every day brings new wonder? Your colony has to remain unconquered while you are gone, as once you've seen it all, you must retire to your base for one final day of rest, before moving on. A prosperous city. Your plan is to leave the Rim a better place than you found it. You will build your colony into a prosperous city-state, the largest on the planet. Your city-state cannot be aggressive or tyrannical, and your win condition is not met until the material wealth and happiness of your citizens is higher than anywhere else on the Rim. You may rule this city, or leave the governing to others. A new age of magic. You've never imagined getting to live in the world of magic, and now that you do, you're going to dive headfirst into it. The Magic Enclave is short-sighted and myopic, hoarding knowledge instead of spreading it. Your goal is to build the Rim into a bastion of magic talent and understanding, building academies to develop the next generation of magicians and unlock new heights of magic power. Amid the explosion in magic use, you must be the most esteemed and powerful magician on the planet, known for all as the Archmage of the Rim. Secrets of the Universe. Your goal is not conquest, but understanding. You've always been curious about how the universe worked. With all the powers, artifacts, allies, and resources at your disposal, what better opportunity will you have to figure it all out? Your ambition is to discover, understand, and catalogue the fundamental forces behind the universe, including the mysterious stranger. Dreams of Empire. You've seen the type of people in power in this world, and you think you can do it better. You will conquer your entire continent through strength of arms and rule as its emperor. This condition is met once you've crushed every other power on the continent, and you are unambiguously in charge. Of course, why stop there? The entire rim is ripe for the taking. Glory of Nobility. You will play the game of politics with a feudal kingdom, maneuvering and currying favour with the king until he bestows upon you the title of Count. This will require a great deal of savvy, charisma, and backroom dealings, and you will face assassinations and coordinated attacks on your colony from your rivals in court. From here, you can enjoy your noble privileges, or use your new authority to charter a ship off-world. Living God. After all, why shouldn't they worship you? You will become the new god of the Rim. To do this, you must become the strongest being on the planet, with deeds that are spoken of with reverence all around the globe. Once the people begin to see you as a deity, you must expand your faith until it is the dominant creed on the Rim, and the other religions are pushed to the side. This ambition is fulfilled once you have cemented your divinity as supreme for several generations. But why go back home if this is your desire? There's a whole universe out there. Strike down the Rim. Your goal is simple. Utterly annihilate this godforsaken planet. The how is up to you, but you must destroy the planet such that no meaningful human civilization can ever again exist on the Rim. Getting yourself and your colony off first is optional, of course. You are blazing the trail on this path of destruction, and you'll have to figure things out for yourself. See you on the Glitter World. The Rim is a brutal place, but perhaps it doesn't have to be. You will use your supreme power and wisdom to transform it into something unrecognizable. A Glitter World. A techno-utopia where suffering is a thing of the past, and everyone's needs are met. To accomplish this ambition, you must raise the standard of living of the Rim to levels inconceivable. Like with a prosperous city, the Glitter World cannot be oppressive or tyrannical, and all citizens must be free and equal before the law. Acquired life. Screw the war, the politics and the grandeur. You reject it all. Your ambition is to live a happy life, get married, have children, and grow old to see your children's children, then die peacefully of old age. For some reason, you think the stranger would actually welcome this act of rebellion, and consider it to be faithfully fulfilling his instruction. The end, and the beginning. As you give your final answer to the stranger, the train car fades, and your new colony appears before you. You feel a surge of energy, as your new powers flow through you, and know your gear and companions will arrive at your base shortly. For now, it is just you and the stranger. Satisfied? You take a moment to consider it and realize you are. The challenges ahead of you will be harrowing, but with your new powers and companions at your side, you feel more than ready to take them on and make something of yourself. You nod your assent. Good. The stranger smiles and lights another cigarette. You'll be hearing from me soon. You'll be visiting? Ha! No, that's not how it works. You'll figure it out soon enough. Whatever happens, I don't think I'll ever forget you. Call me Randy. Randy passed on his cigarette, and is obscured by the smoke. When it clears, he is gone. You stride forward to your new life. The end. Gain 1 extra pick for liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the bell icon. Get another pick for writing your build in the comment section below. Gain 3 extra picks if you use this to write your own HFY story.